to another sports news show video. Today I'll be reacting to and giving my thoughts on the Champions League semi-finals that took place this week. So Real Madrid, Man City and the Milan derby. So I think Man City are in the driver's seat for the semi-final. I think that Man City will be the happier team because I think if they didn't win or lose, if they didn't lose, I thought they'd be disappointed. So especially with what happened last season at the Bernabeu, I think they'll be a lot happier this time around. So Real Madrid defended very well. Rudiger and Alaba were doing very well against Haaland. Man City looked like the better team from the first minute, really, even though that Real Madrid were fairly good as well, with Camavinga, Vinicius being the stars of the show for Los Blancos on Tuesday night. It was a great goal from Real Madrid to start off, and then De Bruyne's goal was obviously even better. So yeah, I do think Man City will have the advantage, especially because of how well they've played at home this season as a whole. And if you look closer to like the Champions League, beat Bayern 3-0, thrashed Leipzig 7-0, so God knows what they'll do this time around. If Real Madrid would have won last night, I think they'd be in a stronger position to be in the final. But now that Man City have the advantage at home and they didn't lose, I do have a feeling that Manchester City will be in the final in Istanbul, because I just cannot see Manchester City bottling it this time. Pep's been a lot smarter and a bit more unique in terms of the way he's played this season, going with like a back three, playing 4 central defenders in a formation, playing John Stones alongside Rodri. He's been very tactical, and he's been different. It's been different for Manchester City this season because you haven't really seen like this before. So I genuinely think that Man City will be in the final. Real Madrid could give it a good go. I think they will. I don't think it will necessarily be a thrashing, but I think Manchester City will win quite comfortably, like 2-0 or something. So, and I do think Haaland will score at the Etihad, and I think the home advantage will have a massive advantage to Manchester City. So we look on to the other semi-final, the Milan derby, Milan-Inter. Inter won 2-0 last night. Barella was fantastic. Dzeko was fantastic. Martinez was brilliant for the second goal. Mkhitaryan was good. Inter were just very good last night. But I don't think Inter would have played as good as they did if AC Milan did not have Rafael Leao injured. Leao was obviously a huge miss last night at Milan's attack, and the whole performance as a whole really looked completely lacklustre compared to how they've won the Champions League before, and it was nowhere near the level they should be at. Because Milan struggle without Leao, and last night was clear proof of it. Leao's going to sign a new 5-year contract, so Milan should be happy in that kind of sense, because he ain't going to be going anywhere. But I do genuinely think that AC Milan are in a bit of trouble, because last night's result will not do them any good. Leao taking out that team makes Milan look like a top 6. It doesn't make them look like a top 4 team, probably a top 6 team if I'm honest. Milan's team is good, but Leao is the key to that puzzle, because you see the impact he has when he's in the team and when he's not. Because when he's not in the team, like he was last night, you can see what can happen. Milan were 2-0 down inside 10 minutes. Inter played very well, to be fair. They have been very good in the Champions League this season, let's not lie. They beat Barcelona, they drew with them away, they beat Benfica, but because I think many people underestimated Inter, and I'm not surprised with that, because Benfica at the time, and they still are, one of the most informed teams in Europe, so you can understand why many people were surprised that Inter won. But Inter actually played very well against Benfica in both legs, and you could say that it may not have been a surprise because of how well Inter have played this season at home in the Champions League. So yeah, I think Inter Milan will win. But if Leao comes back in time, which I think he might, I don't know. Because you could see AC Milan pull it back, maybe send it to extra time. But I don't think Inter Milan will bottle it, you know. So I've got to say, I think Inter Milan will be in the final. So I've got to say, I think the Champions League final at the moment will be Man City versus Inter Milan. And you know what? Fair play to Inter Milan. I think they've been underdogs this season in the Champions League. Maybe because they haven't been at the best in the league. Like, I think they've lost out like 11 games in Serie A this season. They've won the last 4 in the league anyway, or 5. So they're back in the top 4 race now. So if Inter reach the Champions League final, then you've got to give them hats off. No one really expected them to be at that stage because, let's be honest, no one thought Bayern and Barca would be... Well, no one thought Inter would be going past Barca and Bayern Munich, would they? Because of how strong they both looked. But Barcelona struggled, Inter Milan capitalised, and they deserved it because they played very well at the Nou Camp. They played very well at the San Siro, beating Barcelona. So I think you've got to admit that Inter Milan have actually been very strong in the Champions League this season. AC Milan, on the other hand, tough for them now because they are in a very difficult position because they cannot afford to slip up and play like they did last night. Origi looked good when he came on, so if he can have the same impact again, and if Leao's fit, then AC Milan could actually have a chance. But at this moment in time, with the way Inter played last night and how the scoreline looks, it seems very impossible for the Rossoneri to do it. So I've got to say Inter Milan will go to the final. So that's my thoughts on the Champions League semi-finals. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.